NBA preseason underway, regular season tipping off in less than 2 weeks, 12 days to be exact. And here are the highest and the lowest win totals at Caesars Sportsbook. The Celtics up there at the top, 53.5. And how about the Spurs and Pacers? Way down there, 22.5. Time for some picks. Tim Doyle stole Matthew McConaughey's smoking jacket. He's got his hammer out in his burnt orange smoking blazer or something. Is that a brown pocket square you got there too, Timmy?
Yes. I thought I was out here for picks. This is not a fashion show.
You
By
are.
the way, you
well,
wear the same outfit.
Look, I thought you were here for picks too, and then you showed up looking like Matthew McConaughey at the Playboy Mansion. So give me a break, all right? Let's start with the Grizzlies. They won 56 games last season. Their win total, Tim, just 49.5. You got to go over, right?
All right. I got one for you here, okay? When you say 49.5, poof, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Say it with me, ba-boom, ba-boom. Grizzlies going to the finals, ba-boom, ba-boom. Grizzlies going to the finals. Yes, the Grizzlies are going to the finals this year. Why? Because last year they got to the Western Conference semis. John Morant got hurt. And I thought they gave the Warriors the best series of any team out there in the NBA playoffs. I loved John last year at 50 to 1 win the MVP. You ain't going to get those odds again. Why? Because you and I discovered him down in Murray, Kentucky, and he makes this team so much better because he's so unselfish. Yes, we see the highlight dunks and the surreal plays. The biggest question with him is, can he stay healthy? And he's so, I don't want to use the word reckless, but he attacks the rim so fearlessly. At 12 to 1 right now, you're not getting the same odds, but there's just a chip on their shoulder. I've noticed this about all the great players in the NBA. When you go to a Davidson, when you go to a Lehigh, when you go to a Murray State, you have something to prove. Damian Lillard, Weber State, CJ McCollum with the Lehigh, like you're always trying to get there and like trying to prove yourself. So I think the Grizzlies are going to be really tough in the regular season. Do it with me, Hassel. 50 wins Grizzlies, 50 wins Grizzlies, 50 wins Grizzlies.
So they're going to the finals. Doesn't matter how many they win in the postseason. All that matters is regular season here for these bets. Let's go to the Timberwolves. Now, Timmy, they haven't won 50 games in a season since you were maybe right out of college. Kevin Garnett was there. I think you were still in college playing at Northwestern when that happened. Why are they going over that this season?
I was in college for 5 years, and my last year in college, I was 24 years old. And I remember I took a freshman out to Chipotle on a date, and it was weird. Like I did, when there's like a disconnect and like errors and stuff. I'm talking Saved by the Bell. She was talking SpongeBob SquarePants. It was only one date, okay? I love the T-Wolves in the regular season. Why? They picked up Monsieur Gobert, okay? And you know what Monsieur Gobert does in the regular season? He wins. Go back to the Jazz teams. You know what they do every single year? 50-plus wins. And now you bring him in there with the little Punky Brewster haircut that he's got, a little blonde on top. You couple him with Karl Anthony Towns, and they have a superstar, the Timberwolves. A superstar in Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards will win an MVP one day. Will he win it next year? I don't think so. But here's a guy who's basically new to basketball and goes out there and he's going to average 26, 27 points a game. He's an amazing athlete. He could stick it with confidence. And to think this guy's only getting better is scary for the rest of the NBA. Is this a team that can win a championship? I don't believe so. Because in the playoffs, what they do is they put Rudy on an island. I'm sorry, Monsieur Gobert on an island, and then he can't guard, and then everybody gets in the wheel. But they gave the Grizzlies a heck of a series last year. They add Gobert. I think they're going to have a dynamite regular season. Give me over for the T-Wolves.
Okay, over T-Wolves, over Grizzlies. Let's move to the Pistons. Now, the Pistons' win total set at 30.5. They haven't even won more than 23 games in any of the last 3 seasons. Why are they going over 30.5?
Yeah, they had a stretch last year when Cade Cunningham finally started coming into his own where they went 21-3. No, not their record. Against the spread. Okay, so that just showed me right there that Vegas couldn't figure them out second half of the year. Cade Cunningham didn't play in any preseason games, and he got off to a bit of a rocky start. He is a superstar. He is going to be a top 12 player in the NBA year after year. You couple him with Jaden Ivey, you got Cade and Jade. Like Bernie and Ernie. You know, this is going to be the modern day Tim Hardaway. No, Bernie and Ernie. They played for the Volunteers back in the 70s, my friend. Before you were born, before you were a twinkle in Don Hassell's eye somewhere in Iowa when he was running around the cornfields.
All I know is Bert and Ernie. I don't know Bernie and Ernie.
So
sorry.
Bernie and Ernie, they played for the Volunteers. Okay, so Mitch Richmond, Tim Hardaway. Then you had C.J. McCollum, Damian Lillard. Now you're going to have Cade and Jade, Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham. And the Pistons are always near and dear to my heart. Why? Because the man that raised me. Oh, what a celebrated career my father, Big Dan Doyle, had. There he is. The funniest thing is, this is not an effective shooting pose. Like, whoever taught him that this jump shot eventually goes in was a bad teacher, okay? But he did play in the NBA, 4 big-time games. He shot 50% from the field, 80% from the line. The whole thing is, if you would take this over per 48 minutes, he actually had an amazing career. And he doesn't like to talk much about the NBA, and now he's getting older in age and stuff, and I definitely have a large portion of his will. He said to me, he goes, you want to hear some NBA stories? I said, sure. He said, my stats in the NBA, this is where he goes, I was a 30-30-30 guy. I was like, wow, 30 points, 30 rebounds, and 30 assists. He goes, no. We're up by 30 or down by 30. I got in for like 30 seconds. But this is a Pistons team that's improving, and the 30-30 man is still alive and kicking. I don't care about the Will Hassel. I want him to live, okay?
I'm sure. Is he getting pension from the NBA? I mean, he put in his work there, 4 games.
He used to take my paycheck, the guy. He'd be like this, come here, summer's work, here's the paycheck. I'm like, I thought you played in the NBA.
Oh, Danny Doyle. All right, let's move on to the Lakers. They won 33 games last year. Did they get any better this offseason? Did they get 12 games better? The total's 44.5.
I think this total should be, are they a 500 team? And who in their right mind? You've watched a lot of basketball. We've all watched a lot of sports. Russell Westbrook and LeBron James do not belong on the same team. How did it work out last year? Bad. What does their roster look like? The exact same. So how could you expect like a different result when we saw what happened last year? And I want LeBron to play in 75 games, but the reality is he's approaching 40 years old. And this is just a bad mix. I think you're paying an absolute premium. This line should be 40.5. Can they be a 500 team? And I don't even think they're a 500 team this year. Anthony Davis looks completely cashed out on his career, and rightfully so. I'll tell you something, if I had $100 million, I'd be like, yeah, let's just run up and down in LA, and when are we going to the beach? Like, that's where he's at in his career, which is unfortunate because they talked about him being one of the all-time greats. Just seems like he got his championship, Anthony Davis. He's had a difficult time staying healthy. Is that his fault? Is that the bounce of the ball? But the Lakers, I am selling on them. I don't believe it all.
Yeah, that's incredible how inflated that number is. Let's move on to the Trailblazers. They had their 8-year playoff streak snapped last season. They won just 27 games. Their win total still looks pretty high at 39.5.
Yeah, it's over for the Trailblazers. It was a great run. This is when you're like 25 years old and you go back to the college bar and you have like your foot up and you're like, hey, what's going on? Like, it's passed you by. For the Trailblazers, it's over for them, right? They had a great run. They had C.J. McCollum, Damian Lillard. They had a backcourt. They had a team that fit. Don't you feel like they're going to be in sell mode? You got a new coach there. It's kind of been up and down. Guys have been injured. Just seems like everything's wrong out there in Portland. And by the way, you look at the West. We just talked about the Timberwolves being better, the Grizzlies being better. There are not a whole lot of wins out there in the Western Conference. So I just think it's like Owen Wilson at the end of Wedding Crashers when he's like by himself, like falling into the drums. Like, that's what I feel like the Trailblazers are right now.
How about the Spurs, though? They've got the lowest win total of all, or at least tied for it with the Pacers. 22.5, Tim. Listen to Coach Pop on expectations this season.
Nobody here should go to Vegas with the thought of betting on us to win the championship. And I know somebody will say, gosh, what a Debbie Downer. There's a chance. What if they work really hard? It's probably not going to happen.
How about that? Honesty, Tim. Honesty from Coach Pop. What are you going to hammer here?
Oh, you are hammering the under here. Why? Because in 1997, 1998, Greg Popovich was the general manager of the San Antonio Spurs. Bob Hill was the coach. David Robinson got hurt. And what did they do? Oh, they lost. They lost. They won 20 freaking games. Why? Because everybody wanted the number 1 pick in the next year's draft. They landed a pretty good player. Timmy Duncan did pretty good there. That year they won 20 games. And Popovich goes, oh, okay, you're the head coach? Now I'm the head coach, okay? So we've seen this before. Alanis Morissette said, It's like 2,000 spoons when all you need is a knife, right? It's like meeting the man of your dreams and then meeting his beautiful wife. I mean, how ironic is this that Victor is going to be the first pick in the draft? Did you watch him the other night? If you didn't, folks, he's 7'4". Some people are saying 7'5". If Gorilla Monsoon was announcing, God rest his soul, he would say he was 8 foot tall. I don't know why wrestling, they always added on like 4 or 5 inches, but he shoots the three. He banged down 7 of these against a G League team. Of all the unicorns I've seen, this is the most unique unicorn I have ever seen because he's a guard at 6'3". So just like Popovich lost to get Duncan, they're going to have no Victor to get Victor, and they're going to win 18 games this year. So I am hammering the under there. How do you buy clothes when you're that tall? I mean, that is a tough. I mean, you're that skinny and that tall, but the guy can certainly play. The biggest thing I'm going to have to learn, Hassel, is his last name. It's Victor Wanamambi.
What? That's not how it's pronounced.
Wanamambi ba.
No, just call him Victor. Are there any other Victors that we talk about? No. Victor. That's his name. Victor W. Tim D. with us here on CBS Sports HQ, giving us some winning picks for the upcoming season. Bunch of win totals. Top 3 over, bottom 3 under. He likes Grizzlies, Timberwolves, Pistons to go over, Lakers, Blazers, Spurs to go under.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.